everyone, Lucamus Prime here, so it's time for another podcast video today where I'm going to be talking about, so I'm going to be explaining today the plot of the first film of my proposed Star Wars sequel trilogy. Now, the title is called Star Wars Episode 7, The Next Order. So yeah, now without further ado, let's talk about this plot. So yeah, here we go. So unlike The Force Awakens, which takes place 30 years after the events of Return of the Jedi, this film's prologue takes place 10 years after it. And because I want the ending of Return of the Jedi to have a purpose. And basically what happens is, it's revealed that there's been 10 years of peace in the galaxy. It's also revealed that Luke Skywalker has become the Grand Master of the new Jedi Order. And he's now married to a fellow Jedi named Mara Jade. And they have a son called Ben. It's also revealed that Leia is now married to Han Solo, so she's called Leia Solo. And they have 3 children, Jacen, Anakin, and Jaina. She's also the Chancellor of the New Republic, and Han is the General of its Legion of Soldiers. Now, so to start this trilogy, I needed something to happen. So what's going to happen is, in this flashback, so you'll get to see young Luke, Leia, Lando, and Han, all de-aged to look young like they did in the original trilogy. And so basically what happens is, it shows Lando visiting Luke's temple to give Luke Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber that he found on Cloud City inside, the inner part of it. But while this is happening, the Solo children are playing with other children, and also the droid TV and R2 joining in the fun as well. And there'll be loads of different alien children there, while Leia is watching them inside the same bar in Coruscant where Zamwiza was found by Anakin and Obi-Wan. But then all of a sudden, an assassin wearing silver Mandalorian armour appears out of the shadows, and right in front of everyone, murders Jacen. So yeah, this traumatises all the children and horrifies Han and Leia that they've lost their son. Then after that, we get a time jump of 10 years into the future, and everything has changed. Leia has abandoned being trained as a Jedi, and has been constantly searching for Jacen's killer in the galaxy alongside Han and Chewbacca. Meanwhile, Luke is still, of course, in charge of a temple with the droids keeping him company, when he senses a disturbance in the Force. But unlike other disturbances he's sensed before, and like what Obi-Wan has sensed, he's unable to see it because something is blocking him from seeing it. He then consults the spirits of Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Anakin of what to do, and they suggest that he speaks to his council. So he speaks with the new Jedi Council, which has many familiar faces on, such as Ahsoka, Cal Kestis, Ezra Bridger, and also Sarah from Fallen Order as well. And also Jedi played by Star Wars Theory and Jamie Costa, as I would love to have in this film, maybe. And he hypothesises with them. Oh yeah, and also another one is Corvin Lower, another Jedi. He hypothesises that the disturbance could be linked to Jacen's killer. Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, it's revealed that a fleet of the former Galactic Empire is stationed and led by Grand Moff Pride, and also Grand Admiral Thrawn, and the mysterious new Sith Lord known as Darth Caedus, who is the apprentice to who's revealed to be Darth Plagueis, whose spirit has actually survived after Darth Sidious's attempts to destroy him. And as a little bit of a bonus, you'll get treated to a flashback showing a young Sheev Palpatine killing his master. And also showing the spirit of Plagueis possessing a new vessel. So yeah, this council of the Empire, led by Thrawn and Pride, they decide that building a third Death Star is pointless because the previous 2 have been destroyed. So they agreed to build a much larger version of the Malevolence from the Clone Wars. But this time it's got the potential to wipe out all the power in the entire galaxy, not just a fleet, all the power in the whole galaxy. Now, Thrawn knows that his homeworld's people of Sicily would happily agree to work with him if he gave them the order, because, he trusts his people to follow his orders. So he travels to his home planet Sicily, and he orders the entire population to build it, while under threat of being killed by the Death Troopers, so they'll be brought back into this, because they were loyal to Thrawn. So yeah, because they don't want to die, they agreed to work. So he's got an entire planet working on this Malevolence. So yeah, that's why it's going to take, a whole movie to build this, pretty much. So Kaidos then speaks to a hologram of Plagueis, and he's revealed to be living on a mysterious planet. So it's not on the ship where the fleet is, it's on a planet. So Kaidos learns that the Jedi Order is growing, meaning that he will be able to fulfill the prophecy of the dark side and wipe out the Jedi very soon. So, meanwhile, Luke learns from Han and Leia that one of the planets they haven't travelled to yet to look for Jason's killer is Kamino. And he remembers that the assassin wore Mandalorian armour, suggesting that they may be on the planet. So Han, Leia and Chewbacca recruit Landor, and they head to Kamino. So Plagueis then senses that the Chancellor and General are on their mission, and he tasks Kaidos with destroying them, giving him a Star Destroyer. Now this Star Destroyer is much different to the older ones. It has a similar design, but it's different because it can carry a much larger fleet of TIE fighters, and it has much more powerful cannons. They can't destroy an entire planet like in Rise of Skywalker, but they are much more powerful. So like a few blasts could probably destroy the NATO Star Destroyer because they're that powerful. So now on Kamino, Han, Leia, Lando, and Chewie go to where the assassin was last sensed, according to Leia, because she is still a bit strong in the Force, because she's had training, but of course she gave up. But she has enough to sense where things are. But instead of finding the assassin, they instead find Boba Fett. So he's revealed to have survived his encounter in the Sarlacc pit, and you'll get treated to a flashback showing him escaping the Sarlacc pit as well. He reveals that the assassin they're looking for is his daughter, called Phasma. And he disowned her because she killed a defenseless child, which is against his code of being a bounty hunter, that he would never kill, an innocent child. So that's why he disowned her. And also, as a result, his wife also has divorced from him as well, and he's never seen her at all since Phasma killed Jacen. So they tell him that she will be arrested and sentenced to execution, and he actually agrees to provide them with her current location, which is Mos Eisley. So they're heading there, of course, in the Millennium Falcon, but they're unaware that Kaidos' fleet is also following them in secret. Oh yeah, another thing about the Star Destroyer is they actually have a cloaking device which makes them different to the original Star Destroyers, so that's another new thing about them. So in Mos Eisley, they search the spaceport for Phasma, and they eventually do find her in the cantina, and they give chase, ending up in pursuit via land speeders leading to Mon Espa. At the same time, Luke senses that his friends are in danger, quite similar to how he did in The Empire Strikes Back, and he chooses to help them, so he tells C-3PO to contact Han's fleets to travel to where he sends for danger, with him and R2 going in his old X-Wing to where he sends them. He also requests Mara to look after the children and also the rest of the Jedi as well before he leaves, with the fleet of 3PO has contacted for him. So in Mon Espa, Phasma is ambushed and is incapacitated by the heroes. Leia is able to use a Jedi mind trick on her to make her tell them that she was hired by the Empire to kill Jacen. But before they can get her to reveal who hired her in the Empire, like who it was in the Empire, she commits suicide. So of course the heroes are horrified that the Empire's back. They thought they destroyed them, but it turns out a small fleet did survive the destruction of a second Death Star. So Han then contacts the Republic, where 3PO responds, and he informs them the Empire's returned. But all of a sudden, they see Kaidos' Star Destroyer arriving, and this prompts them to want to enter it to find out who it was who hired Phasma if they can get information. But they attempt to enter it with the Falcon, but unfortunately the shielding prevents the Falcon entering, and it's outnumbered by the massive fleet of TIE fighters. Now after this, however, before they can be shot down by the TIE fighters, because they're being overpowered, Luke and the fleets arrive to help. And despite several losses, including Poe Dameron, who will unfortunately get killed off in the first one of the trilogy compared to the sequel trilogy by Disney, they do manage to break through the shielding on the Destroyer and they enter it. So when they're in the Destroyer, they split up. So Han and Leia go on and find who is in charge of the ship, and Luke and the others fight the Imperials and find a way to destroy it. Han and Leia search different areas, and Han eventually comes across Kaidos. So there's a bit of a conversation between them. Han demands to know who it was who hired Phasma. And in addition, while this is happening, Pride notices this and he informs Plagueis. So Plagueis then orders Kaidos to remove his helmet. And Han is horrified here because it's revealed that Kaidos is Jacen, and he has turned to the dark side. So Han tries to convince Kaidus to abandon the darkness and come home, but Kaidus refuses, saying Han and Leia wanted him dead and hired Phasma. So it's revealed that Plagueis has lied to him and told him that it was Han who hired Phasma, not him. Han denies this, of course, but Plagueis orders him to kill Han. But before Kaidus can snap Han's neck, Luke arrives and distracts Kaidus long enough in a duel, and while they're fighting, Han's able to defeat Kaidus by shooting him in his helmet, so this leaves one of his eyes visible, and it damages his helmet. And it gives long enough time for him and Luke to make their escape. So yeah, Chewie and Lando successfully set the ship to self-destruct with the help of R2, and the heroes all successfully escape the destruction, while Kaidus also escapes and is told by Plagueis to meet him on his homeworld, Megiddo, for their next objective. So it's revealed that Plagueis is on Megiddo, the planet where I think Kaden Mundi was killed in Revenge of the Sith. Plagueis will then contact Thrawn, and it's revealed that the entire population are working for him, and the Malevolence too is almost finished. Now, on the Falcon, the heroes are making their way back to Coruscant to prepare for war. Han then reveals to Leia that Kaidus is Jacen, and he promises her they will get their son back. So that concludes the plot for my Star Wars Episode 7. Stay tuned very soon for another podcast where I'm talking about Episode 8 of my sequel trilogy. So yeah, so this will be talking about Episode 7, the next order of my sequel trilogy. So yeah, be sure to give this video a like. Also be sure to let us know in the comments what you thought of this Episode 7 of my trilogy. Also be sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos coming in the future, and I'll see you all later.